Nobody ever saw his face. He walked among the people like a ghost. The streets were plagued by a menace which nothing could kill. Every newspaper led with the story of the hidden man. It was cold. It was always cold. The dark blue eyes and evil blacks were punctured only by the warming glow of the oranges of the city. The damp hue of the cold loomed around every edge of the town. The light was a ring that people thought spelled safety. But the danger was already walking in the light. What is it about light that people think makes the evil go away? Parents wouldn't let their children leave the light for fear of what might be out there. But the dark is a safer place to go. People think there's safety in numbers, but the numbers just give evil more places to hide. Stories about evil in the dark are always where people can't hear you. But the people of the town didn't realize that being where no one could hear you was what they needed. The man was able to walk through walls. He looked like any other person until it was dark, and then his face disappeared. He started to blend in with the night, and he would pick people off one by one. Nobody ever really knew how. Each body was left without a mark. Everybody was left cold, alone, and in the light. He strode among the people as one of them, with no sign of othering. His footsteps were lighter than anyone else, but in the stampede of the everyday, who would notice the sound of quiet? All Hallows Eve makes the soft light of the changing season carry a threatening air. Seems obvious, but nobody expects a ghost when they're everywhere. You can't stop a man who can walk through walls. There was seemingly no pattern for the people who fell. Nobody understood who was dying and why, but they would never work it out, because the true reason was buried in a part of people nobody sees. The only people who see are those in the mind. The secrets, regrets, or betrayals which manifest themselves in the mind as someone who has been wronged. That was what gave the faceless man everything he needed. The damp hue is not simply a byproduct of the season. It was the glow emanating from the rotting population of the city. Like they knew they were decaying. Everyone knows how important it is to unite, to come together, to fight for a common goal. It's why everyone stays near each other. It's why the town was surrounded by darkness nobody wanted to touch. And yet when you're in the town itself, nobody stopped to look at one another. Certainly not out of love, only ever out of judgment, fear, or disgust. That's what the faceless man was trying to prove. Even when any person could have been a killer, could have torn families apart, they couldn't look each other in the eyes. They didn't want to touch the dark. They wanted to stay where they were in the light, but they didn't feel safe in it. Being in the light means nothing when the biggest evil can walk through walls. The dark isn't something to be feared. Sometimes it's safer to be in the dark. Everyone who the faceless man caught was supposedly unexplainably killed, but there was a cruel method. They all died of fright. They assumed the light would save them, but they never tried to make that happen. They just sat, waited, and expected it to come to them. They thought that their bright walls would keep them safe. But evil can walk through walls.